to welcome the Tambo family, Dali, Tselane, and Rachel.
I'm very impressed with your knowledge of protocol, Bob.
Thank you, Claire. All protocol observed, as they say. Trust me, I spent the whole night practicing.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, as you are well aware, we are gathered here this evening upon the invitation of Minister Nkoana-Mashabane. The purpose of this evening is to celebrate excellence in diplomacy and to honor none other than the late stalwart and leader of the ANC, Mr. Oliver Tambo. Minister Nkoana-Mashabane's role is to lead the Department of International Relations, which is tasked with protecting and promoting South Africa's national interests and values. This is done through bilateral and multilateral interactions, conducting and coordinating South Africa's international relations, and promoting its foreign policy objectives, as well as implementing public diplomacy projects such as this event.
Well, I have, of course, heard about diplomacy, but what, Claire, exactly is public diplomacy?
As an investigative journalist, I did my fair share of research around this topic of diplomacy, and I can confidently tell you exactly what it is. Public diplomacy seeks to use various platforms in order to create a positive image of South Africa domestically and internationally. You know what, rather than me explaining, why don't we watch this short video which will tell you all about public diplomacy and the tools that DIRCO uses in order to promote South Africa.
Integrity, passion, humility, patriotism. Ubuntu. The philosophy of Ubuntu means humanity. It is reflected in the idea that we affirm our humanity when we affirm the humanity of others. South Africa's unique approach to global issues has found expression in the concept of Ubuntu and informs our particular approach to diplomacy and shapes our vision of a better world for all. Ubuntu magazine spreads South Africa's foreign policy message quarterly around the world. Its footprint extends across the globe through South Africa's embassies abroad, libraries, think tanks, research institutions, domestic, international, and VIP lounges at all South Africa's major airports, and foreign embassies accredited to South Africa. You can also read the magazine online on www.dirco.gov.za. A first for South Africa and Africa. Since its launch in 2013, South Africa's first 24-hour online radio station has been setting in motion dialogue on South Africa's foreign policy. Ubuntu Radio continues to grow from strength to strength and will soon launch on DSTV's audio bouquet, increasing its reach to over 45 African countries and over 10 million potential listeners. In addition to the mobile application accessible globally, the Ubuntu Radio Mixed application is now available to a potential 80 million users. Follow the award-winning station on Twitter and listen live on www.ubunturadio.com. The Ubuntu Awards is yet another platform that the Department of International Relations and Cooperation has created to promote South Africa. These awards bring together 800 of the country's most influential people to recognize and celebrate the organization and the individuals who have distinguished themselves as true South African ambassadors. Ubuntu Magazine, Ubuntu Radio, Ubuntu Awards. South Africa's public diplomacy in action. Brought to you by the Department of International Relations and Cooperation.
Wow, a magazine, radio station, and award ceremony. That's definitely public diplomacy in action.
Given that this is the third annual Ubuntu Awards, I think that I would be safe in assuming that many of you already know what this is all about. But since this is my first time presenting, I thought maybe we should give you a little more information so that we're definitely all on the same page.
Well, but there are people who make the work of the department that much easier. DIRCO realizes that there are a host of individuals from our homeland who do this every single day. They are technically not diplomats, but through being passionate about their chosen fields, they serve as ambassadors of this great country, be they in arts, sports, business, or any other categories. Their drive and determination have made them de facto excellencies, as heads of diplomatic missions are referred to. They don't do this for accolades or honors, but rather as a result of their passion, integrity, and humility. Indeed, the past couple of years have seen amazing South Africans take this very stage to be honored by His Excellency Jacob Zuma and Minister Nkoana-Mashabane. We have had Hugh Masekela, Yvonne Chaka, Black Coffee, Bra Hot Sticks Mabuse, Chad Leclos, and Wade van Niekerk, just to mention a few.
I must say that given the caliber of previous winners, I cannot wait to see who will be honored with this year's Lifetime Achievement Award. Before we find out who the winners of this evening's awards are, we want to touch on the theme for this evening's event, which is O.R. Tambo in his footsteps. Now, given that the Lifetime Achievement Award carries his name, there is an element of these awards that celebrate Oliver Tambo every year. However, there is something special about this year. Born on the 27th of October, 1917, 100 years ago, O.R. Tambo went on to be a driving force in the liberation movement, fighting tirelessly for many decades to ensure the freedom of all South Africans, regardless of race, color, or creed. Tonight, we celebrate the centenary of one of the greatest leaders that South Africa has ever produced.
O.R. was a selfless man who believed in empowering those around him, and particularly the younger generation. Under his leadership, committed cadres such as Johnny Makatini, Stanley Mabizela, Thandi Lujabe Rankwe, Victor Moche, Lindiwe Mabuza, and Thabo Mbeki, amongst many others, were carefully identified and molded by O.R. and went on to make sizable contributions to the field of international relations in democratic South Africa. Oliver Reginald Tambo espoused the values and ideals of Pan-Africanism that enabled him to locate the struggle against apartheid. This within the context of Africa's decolonization agenda, as well as the continent's pursuit for collective prosperity.
He crisscrossed the continent, engaging with independent African leaders who placed at his disposal prerequisite resources to wage a struggle against apartheid from afield. The Organization of African Unity established the Liberation Committee, which provided a platform for O.R. and other leaders of liberation movements to coordinate continental efforts to liberate the remaining colonies. O.R. was recognized as the de facto head of state and was afforded opportunities to address African heads of state during the OAU summits regarding the situation in South Africa.
Oliver Reginald Tambo, leader, diplomat, father, friend, and revolutionary. As you know, Bob, countries in Southern Africa were utilized to conduct military operations against the apartheid regime. That is why, to this day, the continent remains the center of South Africa's foreign policy. Since 1994, the enhancement of the African agenda has been a vital part of South Africa's foreign policy. South Africa is determined to contribute to regional and continental peace, security, stability, and sustainable development. This work is guided by the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa, the Freedom Charter, and the African Union's Agenda 2063.
The commitment of our country to our continent would have no doubt made O.R. Tambo extremely proud. But his contribution was not limited to the continent. At a global multilateral level, South Africa has, in the best traditions of O.R. Tambo, tirelessly championed the cause of the continent in particular and in the global south in general. This progressive line has been advanced at strategic platforms that South Africa participates in, which are the United Nations, international financial institutions, the G20 non-aligned movement, as well as groupings such as BRICS, IPSA, FOCAC, and others. Tambo led with passion, humility, integrity, and patriotism, always at the forefront of his actions. And it is these very values of O.R. Tambo that we are here to celebrate. We should all try to walk. May we ask you to all rise and give a rousing applause to the man that was O.R. Tambo. Thank you very much. You may be seated. That applause sounds like it was for Sundowns as well this afternoon, which is, if there's any London Pirates fans, really sorry. I'm sure most of you here this evening know that economic diplomacy forms the cornerstone of South Africa's foreign policy. Economic diplomacy includes all the economic activities, including export, import, investment, lending, aid, and trade agreements. And this is why the role that corporates play in advancing our economic diplomacy goals in a responsible manner is critical to South Africa.
The government of South Africa remains committed to the African agenda, which in essence aims to integrate the continent into the global economy on the basis of mutual responsibility and mutual accountability. This basically involves a wide range of measures to make a democratic political systems, peace and security, and accelerated economic growth the cornerstone of development in Africa. And that's why we have the Ubuntu Economic Diplomacy Award.
Now, the Ubuntu Economic Diplomacy Award Africa is awarded to a South African business operating in at least 2 countries on the continent other than South Africa. The organization needs to war. Economic Diplomacy Award.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. MTN is an avid believer in the importance of social responsibility. We pride ourselves on the many CSI projects that we have undertaken across the continent with the understanding that Ubuntu is more than just a word. It is an action. The winner of the Economic Diplomacy Award delivers value in the countries where they have a presence by providing employment opportunities, skills development, and training interventions to their employees, investing in infrastructure and other social services in their host communities, and purchasing goods and services from local businesses, which supports their ability to create employment. Congratulations to Sasol. It is my distinct pleasure to call on Mr. Marcel Michelson, Vice President Stakeholder Relations, Sasol, to come and accept the award.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Mr. De Vries. I am both honored and humbled to accept this award on behalf of Sasol's joint CEOs, Bongani Ngwababa and Stephen Cornell. From its beginnings in 1950, Sasol has grown significantly in South Africa, across the region, and the globe. However, South Africa is our home, and we continue to explore opportunities and invest in the region. We have also recently moved to our new global headquarters in Sandton. Wherever we go, we place a high value on positive relationships with our stakeholders, such as our host governments and communities. Through our actions and the relationships we foster, we seek to contribute to the development of our host communities, and we proudly fly the South African flag wherever we go. I would like to thank the Department of International Relations and Cooperation, led by Minister Maite Nkoana-Mashabane, the hosts of the Ubuntu Awards, and the sponsors of this award. Thank you very much.
I must say, I'm not only impressed by the work that they do, but also by the fact that they are one of the largest foreign investors in major economies, such as the United States. Next up, we have the Standard Bank Economic Diplomacy Award. With a heritage of over 154 years, the Standard Bank Group is a leading integrated financial services group on the African continent. Standard Bank has on-the-ground presence in 20 countries in sub-Saharan Africa, fit-for-purpose representation outside Africa, and a strategic partnership with the Industrial and Commercial Bank of China. Standard Bank's vision is to be the leading financial services organization in, for, and across Africa, delivering exceptional client experiences and superior value. Standard Bank is committed to being a driver of inclusive economic growth and making a positive difference to the lives of Africans in a lasting and powerful manner. If you could please give a round of applause for Thulani Cabashe, the chairman, Standard Bank Group, who is here to hand over the Standard Bank Economic Diplomacy Global Award.
Thank you very much, Claire, for that introduction. The Honorable Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, Excellency Maite Nkoana-Mashabane, the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, the Honorable Tsinodi, the Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, Ambassador Mboko, Excellencies, Ambassadors, members of the Diplomatic Corps, Cabinet Ministers who are here, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. In her address to the Sydney Institute in 2014, Australia's Foreign Minister, Ms. Julie Bishop, said, "If the goal of traditional diplomacy is peace, then the goal of economic diplomacy is prosperity." We at Standard Bank agree and believe that economic diplomacy directly supports the prosperity of Africans. A vibrant private sector, has an important role to play in achieving this objective, as it is a crucial pillar for promoting trade, investment, and growth on the African continent. We are indeed inspired by Oliver Tambo's vision of a society in which all citizens live and work together as equals for peace and prosperity, as he outlined in his address at Georgetown University in 1987. As a leading South African bank, we believe we can and do bring this message to the continent. For us, Africa is truly our home, and we are focused on driving her growth. We are therefore honored to be sponsoring this year's Global Economic Diplomacy Award. This year's winner is an organization that has gone from being a South African-based fuels company to becoming an international integrated energy and chemicals company with over 200 chemical products that are sold worldwide. These products are used in the production process of numerous everyday products that benefit the lives of millions around the world. This organization operates in 33 countries and employs over 30,000 people across the globe. Listed on the JSE as well as the New York Stock Exchange, this organization is recognized globally for its outstanding innovation in the energy space. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to present the 2017 Standard Bank Global Economic Diplomacy Award to Sasol. It gives me great pleasure to invite Ms. Standa to the stage to accept the award on behalf of Sasol.
Wow. Receiving one award at this event is quite an accomplishment and an honor, but receiving two is really blown us away. We are extremely grateful to the organizers and, of course, Minister Maite Nkoana-Mashabane and the department for this honor. And on behalf of our joint CEOs, Bongani Nkwababa and Stephen Cornell, we thank you for this honor.
Well done again to Sasol. You hold the record as the first organization in the history of the Ubuntu Awards to win in 2 categories. They say that the future lies in the hands of the youth, and I definitely agree. Having officially been a youth not too long ago, I can tell you that it's not often that we get recognized for the innovation that we bring to the table. Bob, I'm sure you remember the exhilaration that came with being a youth in the radio industry a long time ago.
Yeah, a long time ago indeed, Claire. You know, some of us are very proud of the fact that we are veterans in this industry. I started my career in radio in 1989. Back then in what used to be called the Republic of Bophuthatswana. Still boggles the mind that South Africa once had an embassy in Bophuthatswana. Can you believe that? The only country in the world to do so, I believe, at that time.
Yes, but you remain young at heart, Bob, young at heart. I know that the Minister Nkoana-Mashabane is extremely passionate about women and youth issues and has spent a good deal of time promoting the inclusion of both groups in international relations. I'm told that the Youth Award is one of her favorite awards of the evening. The Youth Award is given to an individual between the ages of 15 and 35, who through his or her actions, activities, and achievements has promoted South Africa as a dynamic country with enabling an environment for youth to thrive and contribute to making South Africa and the world a better place.
Now, to introduce the Youth Award, I'd like to call upon Mr. Stavros Nicolaou, Senior Executive, Aspen Pharmacare Company. Aspen has a market capitalization of approximately $10 billion and is the 6th largest pharmaceutical company in the world and ranking among the top 20 listed companies on the exchange. As a leading global player in specialty branded and generic pharmaceuticals, Aspen is committed to sustaining life and promoting healthcare by increasing access to high-quality, affordable medicines. Mr. Stavros Nicolaou, if you could please join us on the stage, sir.
Honourable Ministers, Excellencies, Ambassadors and High Commissioners, colleagues, distinguished guests, members of the media, good evening. And thank you, Bob, and hello to the audience once again. The audience that has gathered here to join us at this auspicious occasion this evening. At Aspen Pharmacare, pharmaceutical company, we are passionate about science and how it can be used to save lives. This is why it is so exciting this evening to have a scientist as the winner of the Ubuntu Youth Diplomacy Award. This young man has accomplished more by the age of 28 than many of us have in an entire lifetime. One of these accomplishments include having a planet named after him. Named after him in honor of his work in developing record-breaking rocket and creating safer, more energy-efficient rocket fuel. He's an energy engineering Harvard University graduate with a passion for harnessing the power of the sun for clean, affordable energy. One of his earlier projects, ladies and gentlemen, won him gold at the National Science Expo at the Dr. Derek Gray Memorial Award for the most prestigious project in South Africa, which led an invitation to the International Youth Science Fair in Sweden in 2006, where he presented his project to the King and Queen of Sweden and attended the Nobel Prize ceremony in Stockholm. Truly remarkable. In 2010, I think the year we hosted the World Cup, he was elected as a fellow of the African Leadership Network, a premier network of those individuals who are poised to shape Africa's future over the next 2 to 3 decades. It consists of some of the most dynamic, influential, and successful leaders and entrepreneurs of our continent and its diaspora. Ladies and gentlemen, in 2011, he was invited to the United Nations and to the New York Stock Exchange in recognition for being one of the world's emerging business leaders and to offer strategies to these institutions for solving the world's energy crisis. His credibility was further endorsed by the NASA-affiliated Lincoln Laboratory, which was so impressed by this young engineer's achievements that it named a minor planet after him. Planet 23182, discovered in 2000, is now known as the Sia Muza and is found in the main asteroid belt near Jupiter. Mr. Sia Muza, please can you join us on stage to accept the 2017 Ubuntu Youth Diplomacy Award.
Taking us all over the country, making us up and on our land.
To the Honorable Minister, distinguished guests, I firstly begin by thanking the Lord God Almighty and my Savior Jesus Christ. My wonderful family and all the friends who have supported me. But I received this award, not as an award, but as a baton that has been handed over me by the previous generation of leaders, O.R. Tambo, and the many unsung heroes whose sacrifices paved the way for a story like mine to be possible in a democratic South Africa. This is not an award per se, but it is a symbol and a call to action for all young people gathered here today and watching globally, that it is our responsibility to continue telling the good story that is called South Africa, through innovation, through industrialization, and through transformation. Because if not us, then who? If not here, then where? And if not now, then when? Thank you. God bless you.
He has just blown me away. Not even 30 years old and a whole planet named after him, speaking so well, makes the rest of us feel like we should try a lot harder. Don't you think, Bob?
Yeah. No, another round of applause. Come on now. And let me stand on a point of order. Sorry, I'm standing already. Let me sidestep on a point of order. Acknowledge Deputy Speaker Tinori. We did not. Ntate Kabashi, thank you very much for helping us out there. Let's just a round of applause for Ntate Tinori to welcome him, please, on a point of order. Thank you. You know, that's what we love so much about these awards. It's really quite something else, you know. They give the opportunity for South Africans to find out the amazing work that is being done across the world by South Africans of all ages. Truly, truly inspirational.
And the nominations for these awards come from far and wide, from not just here at home, but across the world, through South Africa's network of over 125 embassies. Just a further note to show the international footprint that South Africans in all fields have.
So, Claire, tell us who votes and how this happens.
I'm sure our audience would love to know how we went through the nomination process. Well, that is those of them who didn't cast their votes. Tonight's winners were chosen by a process of public nomination on the Ubuntu Awards website. The winners were ultimately selected by a panel of esteemed judges, all of whom are with us tonight.
Well, if the first few winners are anything to go by, then they're really great judges indeed. Let us take a moment for us to introduce you to them for tonight. Judges, please stand for a round of applause. From your audience, you really have done a fantastic job. We have Ms. Chichi Maponya. Please, if you could stand. Wave. There she is. Ms. Zandi Lenzalo. Ms. Lindiwe Sangwenisido. Mr. Clayson Monyela. Mr. Tebe Kalafeng. And last year's Youth Award winner, Ms. Catherine Constantinides.
Well, Bob, I don't know about you, but I'm eager to find out who the rest of the winners are, especially in this next category. In keeping with the youth theme, we'll now hand out the Arts and Cultural Diplomacy Award for Youth. This award was established last year to honor young people in the arts and culture space who have shone on the international stage and as a result made South Africa shine. Unlike the other awards being given out this year, this award was both nominated for and voted by the public. So the judges can't take credit for this one. It's the people of South Africa that can take credit. This year's finalists both garnered a slew of votes from across the world. The first finalist is Pretty Yende, who is a world-renowned operatic singer from Piet Retief, who has worked in London, Milan, New York, and Vienna. The second finalist is Laduma Ngokolo, who has captured the hearts of many fashion lovers and media from South Africa, London, Paris, Amsterdam, Oslo, Berlin, and New York. He recently won the 2015 Vogue Italia Scouting for Africa Prize to showcase his collections at the Palazzo Morando show in Milan, Italy. To present the next award is Sizwe Yangi, the Group General Manager Sales, Government and State Organizations of Tsukusan. Tsukusan's vision is to provide excellence in hospitality, leisure, gaming, and entertainment across their portfolio of 14 casinos and over 90 hotels in South Africa, Africa, the Seychelles, and the Middle East. Their award-winning hotels and resorts are rated for quality in their categories, and their portfolio includes elegant, individually branded luxury hotels. With extraordinary achievements and extraordinary people, they are working to set new standards in hospitality and entertainment. Mr. Sizwe Yangi, please can you come and announce the winner of the Arts and Cultural Diplomacy Youth Award?
Honorable Minister, distinguished guests, I'd just like to say a few words around Tsogosan. Entertainment is definitely forms part of our lifeblood. Be it in one of our 14 casinos or resorts or hotels. Entertainment is an integral part of what we do. If you're not getting the Tsogo experience, then we're not entertaining you. We are definitely committed to youth development. This is why we're pleased to announce the winner of the Ubuntu Art and Cultural Diplomacy Award in Youth category. Representing South Africa on a global stage, she has risen to the top of the opera world with unparalleled speed, having performed starring roles in world's grandest opera houses, including the Metropolitan Opera in New York City and Royal Opera in London. Among her many achievements, she is the only singer to have ever won all the main prizes at the renowned Belvedere Singing Competition in Vienna. She is currently performing in New York. She is a global inspiration, groundbreaker, and has truly displayed excellence in her chosen field. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner is Ms. Pretty Yende. Ms. Yende is currently in New York performing a starring role. So we call up the mother to accept this award.
Mhlonishwa uMinister umama wethu Nkoana-Mashabane. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Singumndeni wakayende siyambonga kakhulu uNkulunkulu ngomsa wakhe ukusipha lesipho. On behalf of Pretty Yende, sithi uNkulunkulu anibusise, siyasamukela. Siyayibonga isupport yenu, siyabonga i-encouragement yenu, siyabonga imthandazo, siyabonga kusisupporta sonke. Inkosi yomsa inibusise. Amen.
Understanding the honor that has been bestowed upon her, she was kind enough to send us her acceptance speech via video. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Pretty Yende.
Hello, South Africa. Sanibonani. Hello, South Africa. Sanibonani. It is such a great privilege for me to receive such an award. I would like to thank everybody who has voted for me, and my sincere gratitude to the President of South Africa, Jacob Zuma, and the Minister of International Relations, Ms. Mashabane. My homeland, South Africa, Sanibonani. Thank you so much. It is really, really a privilege. I send you greetings live from the Metropolitan Opera House, where I'm finishing my performances as Rosina in Il Barbiere di Siviglia by Rossini. I send you all my love from New York. Ngiyabonga kakhulu.
Fantastic. Now we have one more award to give out before dinner is served. Those who know me know I love my food. The award is given to an individual organization that has promoted a positive image of South Africa through arts and culture and or facilitated cultural exchanges between South Africa and no fewer than 2 other countries for a minimum of 20 years.
A minimum of 20 years. I know that Bob feels very strongly about the importance of honoring the legacies of those who have broken boundaries for the younger generation and worked for decades consistently and diligently to master their art and project a positive image of the country while doing so. So I'll hand over to you, Bob, to tell us who the finalists in the Ubuntu Arts and Cultural Diplomacy in the veteran category are.
You know me very well, Claire. I am a senior citizen. Well, far too often we see entertainers and artists who have dedicated their whole lives to their crafts being recognized when it's sometimes, unfortunately, too late. It is so important that we celebrate those who were pathfinders, often sacrificing so much so that they could chart the way for us, especially during the apartheid era when censorship and oppression of artists was the order of the day. The finalists in this category are Ms. Esther Mahlangu, most well known for her bold, large-scale and Ndebele-inspired artworks, Mkaribo. And Mr. Johnny Clegg, a world-famous songwriter, singer, activist, French Knight, Les Zulu Blanc, and who recently became a member of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire 2015. Here to present the winner of the Ubuntu Arts and Culture Diplomacy Award is Tava Govender, Divisional Executive at Eskom. Eskom is South Africa's primary energy producer, generating approximately 95% of the electricity used in South Africa and approximately 45% of the electricity used in Africa. Electricity is a catalyst for economic growth and development, currently contributes about 3% of South Africa's GDP. Having surplus capacity, Eskom is in a position to increase sales to utilities in the rest of Africa, having increased cross-border sales by 25% in the 2015-16 fiscal. Having turned the business around, Eskom today supplies reliable electricity to customers in South Africa and across our borders. Mr. Govender, the stage is yours.
Minister, honorable guests, good evening. It is indeed a great privilege and honor for Eskom to present this award. It seems like this award was very close in terms of determining a winner. The winner of the Ubuntu Awards first made her mark globally when in 1989 she was created murals for the international exhibition, The Magicians de la Terre in Paris. She recently collaborated with John Legend to design the limited edition Belvedere vodka bottle for the Make a Difference campaign, using her Ndebele tribal art style to raise money for HIV prevention. In October 2016, Ms. Mashlangu signed a BMW luxury automobile and made it into a work of art that the public could bid on. The vehicle was in display at the renowned Fraser Art Fair in London. This ionic collaboration comes 25 years after she created a BMW art car, which was first to be designed by a woman. I now humbly call upon Ms. Esther Mashlangu to please come and accept her Ubuntu Awards Arts and Cultural Diplomacy Award.
Lochani, Nikonana, bonjour, comment allez-vous? Merci beaucoup. Ngiyathokoza ke nami ngisiphiwe sona la namhlanje ku-art and culture. Ngiyathokoza ikhulu eziberekela umbereko omkhulu kangaka ngize nami ngizokuthola i-award. Thokoza uMinister, bonke inkulu ezenzela umbereko ngiyabathokoza, labathethe khona kwandre. ngiyathokoza ngithokoza nabangivoteleko abangivoteleko ngiyathokoza ngabo thank you.
Well done to the first 4 winners of the Ubuntu Awards 2017. Dinner will now be served, after which you'll get to find out who won the Sports, Social Responsibility and the much coveted Ubuntu Lifetime Achievement Award. Enjoy your supper.
And those were some live visuals coming from the Cape Town ICC for the 2017 Ubuntu Awards. We've already seen the first 4 winners. Welcome back. While the Ubuntu Awards are on a break, we'll continue with our normal programming. Let's take a look at tonight's top stories. The ABSA Premiership match between Mamelodi Sundowns and Orlando Pirates suspended due to violent clashes by supporters.
The ancient African word can also mean humanity to others, and I am what I am because of who we all are. In short, it is about interconnectedness. Ubuntu is fundamentally a part of the next award that we'll be giving out this evening. The act of knowing, understanding, and doing something about the fact that we are all interconnected in our humanity.
Very seriously and have dedicated time and resources to ensure that while servicing our customers, we develop the communities that they come from. As one of the 27 Vodafone foundations around the world, the Vodacom Foundation is dedicated to help make a positive impact in the quality of lives of South Africans and of people in countries in which Vodacom operates. With a vision that is aimed at changing lives, keeping you connected, and creating new possibilities, we believe that our technology can be used for the benefit of humanity to help solve social problems. The NGO that has won this evening's award was officially registered in February 2007 with a vision of bringing love, care, and joy to infants living in prisons by taking care of their basic human needs. Babies Behind Bars, founded by Romy Titus, South Africa radio and television personality, is a not-for-profit organization which is based in Johannesburg, South Africa. They look after babies from birth to 2 years old while they are living with their mothers in prisons across the country. They have also expanded into correctional facilities beyond our borders, having managed to assist 14 prisons in South Africa, 4 in Namibia, and 1 in Swaziland, as well as prisons in Mozambique and Kenya. Babies Behind Bars also do weekly visits to correctional services with the aim of providing some relief and encouraging health and safety for the children. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ms. Romy Titus to accept the Ubuntu Award on behalf of Babies Behind Bars.
Little ghetto child, ungazibulala sana. If you take my hand, I'll show you how to dream.
Honorable Minister, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Did you know that right now, somewhere in South Africa or Africa, a woman could be giving birth to her baby behind bars? I didn't know this either. Until 19 years old, I was ushered to Mampuru prison in Pretoria to file a story on children living behind bars. And as a hard news journalist at the time, I just couldn't shake what it is I saw that day. I saw a 5-year-old boy who didn't know what a man was when he was going to grow up to be a man one day, because the only interaction he ever had with a man was one of the inmates coming to cut the lawn at the female section on a Thursday in an orange overall and leave again. I've seen so many things out in the field, but nothing haunted me more than that 5-year-old little boy that day. So many years later, I still wondered, what happened to that little boy? And did he ever really get to know what a man is before it is that he left his mom's arms at the age of 5? And that is how Babies Behind Bars all came about. The organization never really started for big applauses or glittery award ceremonies. It was really just to give back to those children that you don't really think about. The kids that aren't running outside with grass under their feet or feeling the sun beat down on their face. The kids that didn't have the upbringing that I had. And I so wanted to emulate that and give that back to them. It was small beginnings. We started at Mampuru helping out 30 children. At the moment, we're in 17 prisons in South Africa, 4 Namibia, 1 Swaziland, and 1 in Kenya, where there are over 60 children living with their mothers behind bars up until the age of 5. We turned 10 on the 7th of February, and it's been a hard 10 years. On days where I think, what did I do and why did I start this NGO? Because some days you just don't know if it is that you can meet all the wish lists that come through to our office, and if it is that we're able to help every single child born in prison on the African continent. And by the grace of God, I have to say, every month when we pack, we're able to meet those needs. So I'd like to say a big thank you to everyone watching, everyone who's given a part of themselves to Babies Behind Bars, whether it is a donation or you've come through to donate yourself and your time, because every little bit goes a long way. To the great team that I work with who are back home in Johannesburg, the board members who are absolutely just phenomenal, and we share the same passion and the same vision, and we just want to see these people be happy and healthy while they live with their mothers behind bars. And then, of course, to my parents, Alma Titus and my dad, Stephen Titus, who's my date here tonight. Half the time, I don't think they know what it is I'm doing, but they are my biggest cheerleaders, and they're always there supporting me. What would the organization be without the family and the friends and the corporates who give and lend a hand? So from me to all of you, to the minister, thank you very much. This award, it's belief, it's motivation, it's the never say die, and that's what I take home here today. Thank you so much.
It really is so inspiring to see the charitable work that is being done by South Africans to assist those at home and abroad. The spirit of Ubuntu lives on.
Transnet is the largest and most crucial part of the freight logistics chain that delivers goods to each and every South African. Every day, Transnet delivers thousands of tons of goods around South Africa through its pipelines, rail, and ports. It moves cargo onto its ships for export while it unloads goods from overseas. The mission is to be a focused freight transport company delivering integrated, efficient, safe, reliable, and cost-effective services. Transnet contributes immensely to economic growth in South Africa by increasing their market share, improving productivity and profitability, as well as providing appropriate capacity to their customers ahead of demand. They aim to develop South African industry by reducing the cost of doing business while at the same time operating efficiently and profitably. We'd like to call the Group Chief Executive of Transnet, Mr. Siabonga Gama, to announce the other winner of the Ubuntu Social Responsibility Award.
Thank you, Bob. The jammer, shall we not now? Honorable Minister Nkoana-Mashabane, ministers, ambassadors, members of parliament, fellow diners, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure for me on behalf of Transnet to give out this all-important award. As some of you would know, Transnet is a pioneering social responsibility company which spends more than 600 million per annum on uplifting communities in the areas in which we operate in, which is across the length and breadth of our country. A company which is the lungs and the heart of our economy that is everywhere, in every town, in this great country of ours. Our pioneering social responsibility program is the Pelo Pepper Train, which serves more than 900,000 people in rural communities who would otherwise not receive health care in the areas of dentistry and optical, as well as other health-related programs. Tonight's second winner is housed within the Desmond Tutu HIV Center at the University of Cape Town and is committed to the pursuit of excellence in research, treatment, training and prevention of HIV and related infections in Southern Africa. The foundation, supported by the Archbishop Emeritus Desmond Mpilo Tutu and his wife, Leah, has been in existence as a non-profit organization since 2004. It is an accredited research grouping within the University of Cape Town and is supported in its work by the Desmond Tutu HIV Foundation. The research, clinical and community outreach staff of the foundation share a common agreed purpose to lessen the impact of HIV and epidemic on individuals, families and communities. This foundation does all this through innovation and their deep passion for humanity. It is a fully self-funded foundation through grants and raise funds. Its shared vision for the future includes the continuation of current TB and HIV-related work of treatment, care and prevention, as well as through education, particularly in the most vulnerable populations. It continues to stay abreast of new developments while contributing to cutting-edge information in HIV and TB public health, social, and clinical research. I am honored to call upon Rian Bukes to accept the Ubuntu Social Responsibility Award on behalf of the Desmond Tutu HIV Foundation.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The Desmond Tutu HIV Foundation passionately seeks to reduce the impact of HIV, tuberculosis, and related health conditions, and to improve the lives of individuals in communities, South Africa, and the rest of Africa. Through our innovation and hard work, and driven by compassion for humanity, we strive to improve the health and well-being of all individuals, particularly those who live in the most burdened and least resourced parts of our community. Inspired by the examples and teachings of our patron, the Archbishop Emeritus Desmond Tutu, we seek to support and change those least fortunate, hardest hit, and most needy. Over many years, this has included people living with HIV, TB, the LGBT community, adolescents, and young women. Never daunted nor overcome, we have sought evidence-based interventions with African innovation and creativity to solve some of the most pressing health challenges facing the country today. Some of our firsts included antiretroviral treatments to primary healthcare communities, mobile HIV and screening, cutting-edge drugs, vaccine candidates, and HIV prevention technologies. We are greatly honored to have been singled out with this award today and express our gratitude to the South African community. Thank you.
Well, we are all aware of the dark past from which we come, time before democracy, where every aspect of our lives was segregated and thus regulated. We could not work where we wanted to, go where we pleased, or even love whom we chose. Sport was no exception. Stringently segregated resources were poured into the white teams to be it rugby, boxing, cricket, or athletics, while the rest of South Africa's sporting communities were left to fend for themselves. The international community, many representatives of whom are here with us tonight, realized the power of sport as a unifier and a builder of nations, and went on to ban South Africa from most major international tournaments, further cementing the apartheid regime's global pariah status.
Fast forward to post-democracy South Africa, and sport has taken on a whole new meaning. Once a divider, it now serves as a unifier. From winning the Rugby and Cricket World Cups to being the first African cover ever to host the FIFA Soccer World Cup, to producing countless bronze, silver, and gold Olympic medals in the past 23 years, there can be no doubt that we are a sport-loving nation. And rightly so, if I say so myself, we're pretty good at it too.
Viva Sundowns. Sport was also a major passion of O.R. Tambo, and he encouraged comrades and friends alike to engage in various sports. Wait for it, he himself was an avid golfer, football player, and believe it or not, O.R. Tambo was also a swimmer. A black man, a swimmer. Anyway, where he found time in between the mammoth task of uniting the movement and fighting the enemy, one can only guess, but this comes as no real surprise given his depth of character and sense of adventure.
You know, Bob, that is one more thing that I've learned this evening about this great man that I honestly didn't know. Now, some of you may have been lucky enough to be chauffeur-driven to the venue this evening in the new Jaguar F-Pace. Owning one of these cars is definitely on my bucket list. I tell you, this car gets my pulse racing. Its dramatic design that literally made me stop and stare. I was told earlier on by one of the representatives of Jaguar that despite how much I love how it looks, its true performance cannot be measured, only felt. I'm hoping that the managing director of Jaguar Land Rover will give me that opportunity sooner rather than later.
As soon as he calls you, call me. I couldn't agree with you more, Claire. Did you know that Jaguar Land Rover South Africa distributes South Africa and 13 sub-Saharan African countries, including Namibia, Botswana, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Angola, Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, Tanzania, Mauritius, Ivory Coast, Senegal, and Mozambique. The current Jaguar model lineup embraces reliability, innovation, and performance, characteristics that date back to the most popular and iconic Jaguar models. The brand boasts sports sedans such as the XE and XF, the ultra-luxurious Jaguar XJ, the F-Type sports car as either coupe or convertible, and the all-new F-Pace Jaguar first SUV, the one that's parked right out there, with sports cars handling and first-class leading practicality. All these models offer the best of Jaguar's technologies and engineering expertise, including world-leading experience in the use of aluminium. Without further ado, we'd like to welcome Richard Gouverneur onto the stage to present the next award. That car is beautiful. Please give him a round of applause. Yo.
Thank you very much, Claire, and come and see me afterwards about that F-Pace. I'm sure we can make a plan.
Will do.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's an absolute privilege for me to be standing in front of you today. The winner of our next award requires no introduction. Much like our vehicles, which are known for their speed, efficiency, and overall excellent track record, the winner of the 2017 Ubuntu Sports Diplomacy Award has no competition. Having won victory after victory since winning a gold at the 2009 World Championships in the 800 meter, with a time of 1 minute 55.45 in the final, Caster Semenya has not looked back. Costa won a silver medal in the 800 meter at the 2012 Olympic Games in London, which seemingly may be converted to a gold very shortly, becoming the first black South African woman to win Olympic gold in the field. There are few that can dispute that 2016 was Caster's year, seeing her snatch the gold medal and first place at the 2016 Rio Olympics in the 800 meter. Caster has captured the mind, heart, and spirit of people across the entire world with her determination to triumph against all odds. Her sheer willpower and her grace in the face of tribulation has made her one of South Africa's favorite sports stars. Ms. Caster Semenya, please come onto the stage and accept your Ubuntu Sports Diplomacy Award.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I don't normally prepare my speeches, but what I can say is I would like to thank God for this precious talent that He has given to me, and the strength and the power that He has injected into me. I would love to thank my parents for creating a creature like me to live in this world. My fellow athletes, my coach, my team. As you know, I'm a Cobra, so when a Cobra is angry, it strikes. So yeah, my beautiful partner, she's my date tonight. So yeah, my fellow South Africans for the support that they've given to me. It has been a quite amazing journey, you know. At first, when I got into athletics, special sports, I do a lot of sporting codes, but the support that they've given to me has showed me, you know, that they love me too much. And yeah, I'll always do them proud. And what else must I say? Thanks to Ubuntu radio station and magazine and these awards for recognizing us on behalf of the sports fraternity. We really appreciate it, and may God bless you.
The Oliver and Adelaide Tambo Foundation was established in 2011 with the aim to promote and popularize the legacies of both Oliver Reginald Tambo and Adelaide Chukudu Tambo. The foundation's mandate is to promote the legacies of these two patriots by supporting and addressing issues of socio-economic upliftment and advancement, education, women and youth empowerment, and the promotion of arts, culture, and heritage. The year 2017 marks an important era as the foundation celebrates Oliver Tambo's centenary. To celebrate his life, the foundation aims to embark on a campaign to promote his legacy and highlight his values in addressing challenges and aspirations held by both South African citizens and citizens across the world. It has been mentioned this evening that Mr. Tambo loved the arts and was passionate about youth development. It is for this reason the Honorable Minister of International Relations and Cooperation has commissioned the development of a work of art by the young artist Mr. Thabo Mashile. Please welcome Ms. Linda Vilagazi of the Foundation to say a few words, after which the Honorable Minister will present the artwork to Ms. Vilagazi and Ms. Tselane Tambo.
What a beautiful evening. Heartwarming stories and amazing people that represent our beautiful South Africa. Good evening, Minister Maite Nkoana-Mashabane, ministers, dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, this year marks an important era in the lives of all South Africans as we commemorate what would have been Oliver Tambo's 100th birthday had he still been alive today. The Oliver and Adelaide Tambo Foundation, its trustees, of whom some are here today, Justice Albisaks and Archbishop Makgoba, among some of them, including the Tambo family as represented by our lovely Tselane. We want to use tonight to commend the African National Congress-led government and the President of the Republic, President Jacob Zuma, for dedicating this year to Oliver Tambo. I guess it happens once in our lifetime. Oliver Tambo represents what most of us wish to achieve in a lifetime, but all of us, or most of us, often fail to do so. Born in 1917 in rural Eastern Cape, in the village called Ngandolo, he defied the then current trends for young men to leave school early, work in the mines, or herd cattle to help their families. He went on to pursue education, which most of his peers couldn't even do. But he went further and even got up to university. He not only did excel in his studies, but he actively participated and led the student political movement in Fort Hare and many others. He later went on to qualify as a scientist and later became to be known as a passionate maths and science teacher. In addition, he became a renowned lawyer. Him and Nelson Mandela opened their first black practice in what is now known as Chancellor House. 3 careers in one's lifetime. As if that was not enough, he successfully led the ANC in exile and through his innate diplomatic skills, mobilized international support for the liberation movement and safely delivered the ANC back home, ready to take its rightful position as leader of the first democratically elected government, which is our government today. Indeed, Oliver lived to be the longest serving president of the African National Congress for 24 years. There's a saying that says, great leaders don't just appear and disappear in history. They make it, shape it, and mold it, transform it, and leave behind an everlasting legacy. And that, for me, is what Oliver did. How then do we celebrate this great leader, this giant, this son of the soil? Our mandate as the foundation is to promote his legacy by supporting and addressing socioeconomic issues that are aimed at the upliftment and advancement of the most marginalized, and also in promoting arts and culture and heritage in this country. Of course, our work touches on a number of initiatives, ranging from documenting and memorializing his legacy, lest we forget, using his values to help South Africa resolve some of its long-standing intractable problems, and this we do through research, debates, and dialogue that attract panelists from all walks of life. And lastly, we focus on community work that seeks to promote the advancement in education and for women and for young people. I guess after listening and watching the award of a young person who's had a planet named after him, we are even more inspired to carry on with this hard work. This, of course, we cannot do alone. And over the years, since our formation in 2011, we continue to appreciate the support and the financial motivation and the energies that we receive from our partners. In particular for tonight, I would like to single out the Department of International Relations and Cooperation, which has proved not only to be a partner, but a true champion in honoring Tambo's legacy. The department, under the leadership of Minister Maite Nkoana-Mashabane, not only named their building after Tambo, but also adopted his diplomatic excellence and values in guiding the work they do. They further initiated projects that contribute to promote and preserve his legacy. Minister Nkoana-Mashabane, we thank you for your leadership and guidance in this work. Tonight is but one of those visible, impactful initiatives that you've led in honoring Tambo in a very lasting way, and thank you for that, ma'am. And indeed, we want to take this opportunity to even congratulate all those who have been honored tonight, because they do make us all proud. Again, I would like to repeat that great leaders don't just appear and disappear in history. They make it, shape and mold it, transform it, and leave behind an everlasting legacy. So, in true South African culture, for this year in particular, a number of events are being planned to mark this centenary, as already proclaimed by the President. Every month, starting from this very month, there will be celebratory events hosted across all provinces in aiming to mark his centenary year and celebrate his legacy rather. Of course, there will be that highlight coming down later in the year, and that would be the day on which we actually celebrate his birthday, and that is the 27th of October, when we host the annual Oliver Tambo Memorial Lecture. So watch the space. In case you changed your email address, please update it with us so you don't miss on this very important occasion. As we celebrate, we ask ourselves, though, especially if we are to truly emulate his values, what then happens after the dust settles in December 2017? As representing the foundation, let me use this occasion to appeal to broader South Africa in particular for the plight of the people of Nkantolo. For those who don't know, Nkantolo is the village where he was born. If anything, may I humbly request that in honoring Tambo, of course, whilst we celebrate, that we make real of some of the promises that we made to him. When, for an example, in 1993, he went back home and he stood on an empty plot of land and requested that a school be built in his name. His simple and humble request at the time was looking at the people of his village and thinking, what more can I give to my people? And truly, like OR, he believed that education is the only liberator of his people. And at the time, he asked that a high school be built in his name and that be a technical high school. That was in 1993. Those who can count, you can count from here back to 1993. Of course, his wish was granted. Some structure was put up called a school, and that structure was named after him. But what broke my heart was when I visited his village and I saw that school. It in no way resembles a technical school. It in no way even resembles a school. It is a structure, it's got a very strong teaching team, it's got a very dedicated school governing body, but it has nothing to inspire those learners that come every day and try and learn some technical school. So if anything, fellow South Africans, of course I know we're good in celebrating. My appeal to you tonight is that as we celebrate this year, please join hands with us and let us make good to his wish. And let us refurbish the OR Tambo Technical High School in Nkantolo and give it the dignity it deserves. It doesn't even have a laboratory or no, a workshop to show that it's a technical school. If we can, as the dust settles in December 2017, be able to unveil a school that will truly represent a center of excellence that befits the name that it holds, then we will be happy as the foundation. And I promise you, as the foundation, we will then continue from there on to make sure that what we do in Nkantolo can be done in other parts of this country where it's most needed, because it doesn't only end in Nkantolo, and especially knowing that Tambo was an international figure. Of course, that is my appeal to you, brother South African, tonight, but that not being the only appeal, the second saddest point that hit us when we saw Nkantolo is just the lack of basic water and sanitation. So if we build a school, and yet the school doesn't have water, and there is no sanitation, which is the case in point as I speak now, then we haven't done our job. So the appeal comes in twofold, that we refurbish the school, but that we join forces and ensure that we can at least provide water and sanitation to the people of Nkantolo. We do that. Again, I will promise that I will use all my energy and that of my team, and riding back on the strong backs of my trustees, I will ensure that we spread that goodwill out of beyond Nkantolo to other areas that deserve that. And this is our appeal, and we believe that it can be done. Especially now, more than ever, we would like to honor his legacy by emulating his values, and as the Department of International Relations says, and follow in his footsteps. Thank you, and good night.
If we could please have the minister come on stage.
Ecstasy.
Linda, if you could come on stage as well. This wouldn't be possible without you. Please, Linda, come back on stage. Thank you. Thank you very much to our dignitaries. Thank you.
Together so strong until the locks start to burn. Now we know we are the way. That fire is burning. It looks so good.
We'll give Selani a moment to say something. I'll walk you through. Don't worry about it. My mama raised a gentleman. I'll walk you. It's such cool. Give a round of applause, please. You don't have to step up. I'll hold the microphone for you.
You know, people always say to me, when I say Oliver Tambo is my father, they say, he's also our father. And I can't argue with them. He's also their father. He's also your father. But the difference is, he's my daddy. And I know that he would be very proud today to see all of the Ubuntu Awards, because all of you are the reason that he did what he did. And all that follow you are his reasons. You are all his reasons. And I'm grateful for the acknowledgement as his child. I am grateful that you, his other children, acknowledge him and recognize that you are his reasons. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bring it closer.
South Africa has registered historical diplomatic successes. A significant accomplishment of post-apartheid South Africa has been to move the country from its pariah status to its current standing as a valued and respected player in world affairs. The Honourable Minister of International Relations, now in her second term in this portfolio, has been working to ensure the achievement of South Africa's foreign policy goals. During her tenure, South Africa has seen a number of international relations milestones, including the prioritization of economic diplomacy and playing a leading role in peacemaking and maintenance in Africa under the umbrella of the African Union. She and President Zuma led efforts for South Africa's inclusion into the powerful BRICS formation that has produced the new development bank, the African Regional Center, which has its headquarters in South Africa. Furthermore, Minister Nkoana-Mashabane has led our second tenure as non-permanent member on the United Nations Security Council. The minister was also at the forefront of the historic and successful campaign that saw Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma elected as the first female chairperson of the African Union Commission. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor and privilege to ask the Honorable Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, Mayor Maite Nkoana-Mashabane, to come to the stage to address the audience and give out the Ubuntu Excellence in Diplomacy Award.
Oliver Tambo, Bambi Sandra Sam, where Tambo? Oliver Tambo, Bambi, where Tambo? Bambi Sandra Tam, where Tambo? Oliver Tambo, we Tambo, Bambi Sandra Sam, Nasiyegele, we Tambo, Oliver Tambo, Bambi Sandra Sam, we Tambo, Bam. Son, we tambo bam, usibamu asiyegele. We tambo, Oliver Tambo. We tambo, Amandla, Amandla. Viva Mama Adelaide Tambo, viva! Viva OR, Oliver Reginald Tambo, viva! Viva Mama Gertrude Shope, viva! Malibongwe, igama lamakosikazi. Your Excellencies, Honorable Ministers and Deputy Ministers, in particular, the two Deputy Ministers of DECOM, Deputy Minister Mfeketo and Landers. I'm sitting next to my Gertrude Shope, one of our veteran stalwarts and all, who knows Tambo, OR, and May Adelaide by name because they've gone through thick and thin. She kept asking me, Maite, if the president is not in the room, do we acknowledge him when we speak? I said, yes, ma'am. She asked me this question over and over again. We sought the permission, we got it, to host this first honor to OR Tambo from none other than the man who had worked the trenches with OR Tambo, President Gedleshegisa Jacob Zuma. He was to be with here to us tonight, but he had to be in 4 places in one day. You know he's got that magic broom also. But there was no way we could sit here the whole night waiting for him. So we promised that we shall live to his expectations on how to celebrate OR. I tried, but I don't have as beautiful a voice as he has, as you know. And I am not very good a dancer as he is. So I am not going to try and be him tonight, but I shall say, at least I sang one song, as we did yesterday when we left Parliament. The Dean of our Diplomatic Corps and our dear brother, Ambassador Mpoko, excellencies, ambassadors, and high commissioners, we started very early in the morning in some vineyard with the diplomats because we promised this is their day. We promised this to all our members of diplomatic corps. We take this honor also to captains of industry who are in the room and all our sponsors, men and women in business, esteemed guests, led by the Oliver, Reginald, and May Adelaide Tambo's family. I said to my sister, she said, I am OR's daughter. She is his daughter, because he is her dad. I said to her, but don't forget that I also claim to be one of his daughters, your dad. And she agreed. So when we were admiring the painting, I said to her, Talon, these eyes, who in the room has eyes that resembles these beautiful and charming eyes? She said, I've got the eyes. And look at the lips. These are my lips and my eyes. But when I was sitting there right next to my mother, Stepani, and my mother, Gertrude, she looked at Talani. She said, oh, this child looks just like her mother. Look at her eyes. So I am not going to enter that space of defining Talani's eyes. Safe to say that what an honor to celebrate OR's centenary. And say to the foundation, amongst the board members of our foundation, there's his worship. You call him his worship, the Bishop Makhoba. Our esteemed judge, I know you are in that panel, but let me claim Bishop tonight as Motswala. Because I also can claim you and declare you tonight. That yours is a very uphill task of championing this foundation, not only in Ekantolo, very, very critical, but keep the flag and the banner of OR, of diplomacy, of Ubuntu globally. Indeed, the centenary of OR Tambo would start to celebrate that with the permission of the president and with his encouragement from corner to corner, from the ANC Women's League, my other cap. We said we will start the celebration tonight. I've got National Working Committee members here, the ANC, the ruling party, and of the Women's League. They're in the room. That we will start at Hamadi Nori from the Women's League side. In Janfes, Vaskukun. We will end up in Ekantolo. What we will be saying and doing, so we promise you, we are going to be championing this with you. His birthday starts, in October. So I've done the OR and Adelaide Tambo walk, not run, the 5-kilometer walk. I promise that this October I will be there personally, and I don't cut corners. I do the 5-kilometer walk, and I will be there in honor of the stalwarts of ours. For us, this will start this year, and it will end, just to take a pause, end of October next year. So those who are nimble-footed like Mohadi Smenya, join us. Put on your running techies. We're starting as Kukune Rofella, Kokantol. Permit me that as we pay tribute to our forebearer OR, we also do not forget those who endeavored to walk in his footsteps in building this new nation we are celebrating, like one of our national sports icons and former Springbok captain Joost van der Rijsen, who sadly passed on earlier this week. Joost played an integral part in the team that gave South Africa one of its most memorable sporting events in 1995 Rugby World Cup Championship. It was at this Rugby World Cup that former President Nelson Mandela, who, if he was alive today, would be celebrating the fact that, or commemorating that he walked out of Victor Verster prison on this very day, on the 11th of February in 1990. I remember quite vividly that he was dressed in lovely green Springbok jersey, proudly lifted the Williams Webb Ellis Trophy. I'm talking about Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela. This moment has gone a long way in entrenching the unity and cohesion of South Africa. It became the integral part of our journey of nation building. I can say without any doubt that Joost and his teammates made an immense contribution to the national reconciliation through their sporting excellence. That's why we could have Caster Mohadi Semenya standing here in front of us, proudly representing South Africa and collecting trophies across the world and championing the spirit that we are referring to. Let me once again say, as our president had said, on behalf of the government, the people of this country, we wish to convey once again our deepest condolences to the Van der Western family, friends, and sporting fraternity for the passing of Joost. May his soul rest in eternal peace. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, this ceremony, Ubuntu Awards ceremony, for the past 3 years, has been or has become a very important and popular program activity following the State of the Nation address of His Excellency President Jacob Zuma. It resonates well with our people and our collective desire to celebrate our own leaders and citizens who go beyond the call of duty in their respective industries to contribute to the betterment of this country as well as its general populace. This year's Ubuntu Awards ceremony comes at a very special time as we are celebrating this in our democracy, 23 years of freedom, but also celebrating the sacrifices that our forebears had put life and limb first for all of us, and blessed that we still have some of them with us here. Amongst them, it's Mama Winnie Madikizela Mandela. She's not in the room tonight. She's got a family member who's representing her in joining us in the celebration. I've also mentioned to you that amongst us here, we have Mama Gertrude Shope. When we were young, we used to sing songs about her. And I still threaten that I'll find a moment to do that. But one thing we do not do, which we should do tonight, is to say to all the families, the most renowned, well-known, the ones we normally don't even remember to mention names thereof. Ma Gertrude Shope was reminding me this evening of our first Treasurer General of the Women's League, who became a member of another party along the way. It was the end. But we don't forget the contribution of Umama Njobe, because I now am in a fit and I'm feeling it is very hot. to be a treasurer of an organization that doesn't have money. So this is the kind of sacrifice that these families have contributed. But above all, may we take this opportunity to thank them for having shared their dads, their moms, their uncles, their aunts with us. Because when I travel around the world and see less and less of my mother and of my children, I ask myself, if it's so tough in a free South Africa, it should have been tougher when we were still fighting for freedom. During the day, I was saying to those who know Johnny Makatini, one of those who tried to walk in the footsteps of O.R. Tambo, that there was a man who tried to follow in O.R. Tambo's footsteps, called Johnny Makatini, following on the diplomacy of Ubuntu, of a South Africa that was still not free. That in New York, a 5-minute walk from the UN General Assembly, there's a small, supposed to be Italian restaurant. They allowed Johnny Makatini to wine and dine diplomats there. And sometimes he would eat and walk away without paying because he had nothing to contribute. They'll just look at the other way and write in his book that his bill for that day was so much. So these are the sacrifices that were made by our people. But like O.R. Tambo, he never got back home. O.R. did. Walked back home on his feet with Matambo, but died before he could cast his first vote in 1994. Matambo did vote, and I know she voted correctly. Like Margaret Chop, they always vote correctly. You know what I mean. But Johnny Makatini did not, like O.R., get an opportunity to come back home prior to 1994 and cast his vote. We did. And as we do that, we should remember, and also remember to thank the families. Not to give them gold nor silver because we have none, but just to say thank you, our esteemed Judge Sachs. Thank you very much, all those who fought for our freedom in the room. You can turn around at this moment and just say thank you for the sacrifices. I will give you a half a second to thank the man or woman next to you. Thank you very much, Your Excellencies. In OR, one of the books that celebrates his life, he says, and I quote, "Reconciliation, so crucial a retort to the counter-revolution and because and to survival itself, was simply an extension of Ubuntu translated into the inclusiveness and the human rights and of the Freedom Charter, in the Freedom Charter. These values have been inscribed in the Constitution that is celebrated the world over, that the African National Congress championed straight into our Constitution. Therefore, as I close quote, we should remember that that which we consider as the values and principles of Ubuntu have been enshrined in their Constitution by also our forebears, so that we do not lose who we are and where we come from. We will continue to do that. Champion diplomacy of Ubuntu, think globally, and act locally. I want to say to the Adelaide and O.R. Tambo Foundation, our journey of socio-economic transformation, the real uhuru that our forebears fought for, yearned for, died for, we have not achieved as yet. So, socio-economic transformation struggle is going to be even harder. But that's when we should resolve, all of us here, from Parliament to any other corner of the world to make sure that our children get space to also become participant in the mainstream of the economy of the South Africa through the National Development Plan of SADC, through our regional strategic document and our industrialization strategy, through the African Union and our Agenda 2063 of the Africa we want, and the contribution we make through Sustainable Development Goals 2030, which is linked to our National Development Plan. So it's not yet Uhuru. If the majority of our young people are still spectators and are not in the mainstream of our economy. 23 years is very short. We should say this to ourselves as we reach out to Abantu, all our people in every corner of the village in the country, including those in O.R. Tambo's village in Ekantol. We should give them hope, but also much towards them. We should say we are coming. They must not dream about fresh water. They need to access it, because all of us have resolved to do so. As we say, we will think globally and act locally. It should be that when our friends extend their hands of friendship and say we want to contribute, when I say friends, I mean coming through the diplomatic corps members who are in the room, we should Bamba Lesandra, like we did, pleading to OR that he must hold our hands so that we do not falter. Ours is about fighting the triple challenges in our country, in our region of SADC, in our continent. What are the triple challenges? Hunger, unemployment, and inequality. These things are not nice to say. They are a reality that we need to fold our sleeves, pull our socks, and make sure that we make this anomaly history. Africans cannot continue to be the spectators when they make more than 60% of our people are young, of the 1 billion population on the continent. That starts with South Africa's contribution. 60% young, many of them unemployed. Some of them are almost beginning to lose hope. Because, you know, the likes of Bumukhadi, Semenyi. But now, 23 years, we said to them we are a product of a miracle. We did not say to them, Castor, we are not a product of a miracle. We are a product of our people's struggle and support of through international solidarity. So no nation had achieved all it wants to in 23 years. It has never happened. I know you are very young, guys, and you are impatient, but work with us for you, so that we indeed harness the youth dividends of our population, so that our people become their own liberators using our resourceful land, so that we beneficiate mineral resources. We don't join Bozamazama. Illegal and illicit mining? No. That we do it right, we beneficiate, but we and requisite skills. That when the government says, let's build a school in a canton, it shouldn't be that we will have somebody saying, no. Now I majored in biblical studies, but I want to be the principal of the school, of this technical school. You can't. You better go and join Bishop Makhuba. Because at a technical school, technology, so that we are able to unleash our potential and beneficiate on our mineral resources. Continue to think globally and act locally. That we do not lose connectivity, diplomatic and otherwise, between our villages and our cities. That if we are liberated and we live in Santon today, we don't forget that there's Meroring, there's Amakhuba, where some of us were born, and still people are still waiting there as they are waiting in Ekantolo. And I want to repeat, 23 years is not a very, very long time in a people's history, but we do not have to wait long like other countries in the continent have, because we have learned from what to do and what not to do. The other what to do's, as I conclude my speech because it's late, is every nation that wants to get full emancipation faster needs to unleash the potential of the left hand. Africans, like we have in many other countries outside our continent, have a tendency to think women are just good to be in the kitchen. I repeat this because I know that Mashopo would agree with me, that O.R. Tambo declared as early as 1981 that when South Africa becomes free, the women of this country would say the place of the women, of the South African woman, is where she wants to be. If it's in the kitchen, fine. If it's an engineer, fine. If she becomes an Olympiad and becomes a Caster Semenya, okay. Nobody should be saying, no, apron. No. Because we will never realize our full potential if we do not do women favors. No. Just acknowledge their contribution because they are there. They are multitasked. When they are hungry, they eat last. When they go to school, they don't dodge. They go straight to school and go back home and help families, nurture families. They give life to start with. They nurture life. They don't do military coups. They don't just love peace. They make peace. That's why in my tradition, Khadi ilin twebu tokoso. Khadi. Mr. Chairman of Standard Bank, Khadi, you can ask Mashopor Khadi King. When things are tough in the family, they call for want to come and make peace. But for some reason these days when you talk of peace envoys at the UN, we think of men. A man stages a coup, the peace envoy becomes another man. We forget that we really have real peacemakers. They are still around us. We have to learn from them. But kasi in my mother tongue they say, I never stop learning from two true diplomats in action, true peace lovers and peacemakers like her, who are here with us tonight. I know that you didn't just come to eat and drink. You're here to say we're joining on this journey of Ubuntu, of humanity, of humility. But there's no better way we can say thank you, Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on International Relations and all the members, to O.R. Tambo, than to leave his message. Walk in his footsteps and that of his beloved wife, Adelaide. I said certain things during the day, and I'm happy I said so then, because Mashopo was not there, about the other preoccupation of Matambo when she was still around. She will remember what I'm talking about. But that's who they were. They wanted to become natures of life to the fullest. And let's walk on their footsteps and do the right thing by putting our nation first. Ke a leboga.
Thank you very much for those inspiring words. Diplomacy has many a definition. It is defined by some as the profession, activity, or skill of managing international relations by a country's representatives abroad. Interestingly, it can also be defined as the art of dealing with people in a sensitive and tactful way. And honestly, I do take my hat off to diplomats for the, well, diplomatic way in which they behave in the most trying of situations. But there is another important aspect of diplomacy and the role of a diplomat in another country. Although there is a lot of political and economic work that is done by foreign representatives based in South Africa, these missions stationed in Pretoria also take on the task of providing many other types of assistance to their host countries. This can come in the form of embassies embarking on cultural exchanges, adopting schools as part of their CSI projects, the provision of bursaries, and much, much more. This is the softer side of diplomacy that often goes unnoticed and forms an integral part of the work that these extraordinary individuals do for our country and that we do in theirs.
Therefore, the Honourable Minister of International Relations and Cooperation felt that there should be an award that is given to a diplomat residing in South Africa who has contributed immensely to the upliftment of the South African people over and above the traditional channels of diplomacy. That award is the Ubuntu Excellence in Diplomacy Award, which has been won by the Chinese ambassador to South Africa, Ambassador Tian. And once again, I'm going to be a pain to our ambassador, to our minister, honorable minister, and ask her to please come and just to present the award to the Ambassador Tian, please, Minister, if you will.
Your Excellencies, Excellency Ambassador Tian, ni hao. Konsi Fachai, I don't want to take too much of your time and those of your colleagues, but just to say, Sheshe, for who you are, what you do. I keep saying to our diplomats how I wish you could run lessons, not through Beijing, just you, the person. First time I saw the ambassador, I said, I complained to my officials that, hey, this man is fast. I don't know if we're going to catch up with him. But whether it's 6 o'clock in the evening or 7 o'clock in the morning, he works so tirelessly for the values of Ubuntu, like he was born in this country. It is through Ambassador Tian, as I allow him to receive his award, that I learned why Chinese recipes are what they are. You know, in Chinese tradition, in every other province, 10 chicken or less can feed the entire room. They chop, 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 chop. Chicken into small pieces, and one table there can feed, one chicken can feed the 2-3 tables. They say this art started during the time of the First and the Second World War. The art of sharing, which is supposed to be as much as the values that is encapsulated in the values of OR and Ubuntu. So we all know Chinese recipes, we all also try to eat like you do, but we've never taken time off to learn what we should be from you and all you do. And I wish this message could reach Beijing, that you are one of the most hardworking ambassadors. After Ambassador Mpoko, this is the second recipient of this award. All the very best to you, Ambassador. Sheshe.
Honorable Minister Maite Mashabane, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great honor and privilege to receive this precious award in the year of O.R. Tambo, when we celebrate the 100 years of the birth of the great leader and great diplomat, O.R. Tambo. This honor is not only a recognition of my work and that of all my colleagues at the Chinese Embassy in South Africa, but also a manifestation of the friendship of the South African government and the people towards China and the Chinese people. And most importantly, it is a testimony to the prosperity and the sound development of China-South Africa relations. As I understand, the spirit of Ubuntu is about sharing. I am because you are. I think this is also the spirit of O.R. Tambo. This is the most needed spirit of our times. I'm happy to say that the spirit of Ubuntu can also be found in the core value of traditional Chinese culture and is in line with the concept of building a community of shared future and destiny for all mankind proposed by Chinese President Xi Jinping. I have worked in South Africa for 5 years. I love this great country and the people on this beautiful land. I take South Africa as my second home. I'm lucky enough to witness the rapid development of China-South Africa relations and cooperation. Thanks to the personal care and strong guidance and support of President Xi Jinping and President Jacob Zuma, China-South Africa relations have been lifted from strategic partnership to comprehensive strategic partnership. Our relationship has put on the fast track of all-round development and is getting stronger than ever before. I hope and strongly believe that with our joint efforts, China-South Africa relations can bear more fruits in the years to come. At last, please allow me to take this opportunity to thank Honorable Minister Maite Mashabane, colleagues from the Diplomatic Corps, colleagues from DIRCO, and South African friends of all walks of life. Thank you for your long-standing support and help given to me and the Chinese Embassy in South Africa. Thank you all. May China-South Africa friendship last forever. May China-South Africa relations grow from strength to strength. Thank you.
Now, it is that time in the evening that you have all been waiting for, the O.R. Tambo Lifetime Achievement Award and dessert, of course. This one is named after DIRCO's patron saint, as he is fondly known in their hallowed halls. His efforts in mobilizing world support against the apartheid regime were influential in the UN resolution to declare apartheid a crime against humanity in the late 1970s, thus leading to the expulsion of apartheid South Africa from the United Nations.
And consistent with the progressive internationalism of OR Tambo, South Africa continues to advocate for the establishment of a rules-based multilateral order that reflects the current global reality that does not advance the interests of powerful countries at the expense of poorer countries. South Africa has also taken a firm stance against militarism and imperialist aggression as tools of foreign policy. South Africa's approach to global conflict resolution espouses the principles pioneered by OR Tambo, which stress the primacy of dialogue in settling disputes.
How can we forget? How do we dare to fail to remember when the victory of the system was complete, when all hope was lost, when the spirits were broken, when the people were left alone to suffer the monster alone, when we, the people, walked the darkest tunnel of our history alone, when we, the people, had to grieve the deaths of Sharpeville alone, when we, the people, witnessed Mandela going to jail alone, when we watched helplessly the Congress being banished to damnation, when we had to look and see deep in our own despairing souls, when we lost all in one fail swoop, when we had to bear witness, as was intended, to a masterful apartheid strike, when we were afraid and pliable, dare we forget that we were done in, that it was done with bells tolling. The hour of our need, calling a commoner to come forth without a promise of greatness, to lead, to chart a cause anew, to assume greatness, that honor unto Tambo, none other than one so great, who steps voluntarily forward to honor the nation, a son born of our humble beginnings, from the womb of the poor, sent purposefully to go out there and prepare for the world to listen and hear a loud and clear message from these shores that until the people of South Africa are free, the world cannot itself be free. An emissary of all that is good and just, this one person trusted by the multitudes to go out there and prepare, not for war for the sake of it, but for a different vision, a country at peace, a country free.
That poem by Monde Ngasawe really is a fitting tribute to OR.
Our first laureate to be awarded is known for her constant fight for justice and triumph over tribulation. Her name is synonymous with the struggle for liberation in this country, and she is lovingly referred to as the mother of the nation. Known to most as Winnie Mandela, attended primary school in Bizana and matriculated at Shawbury High School, where she distinguished herself as a person with exceptional leadership qualities. In 1953, she was admitted to the Jan Hofmeyr School of Social Work in Johannesburg. She completed her degree in social work in 1955 and was offered a scholarship for further study in the USA. However, she turned it down and opted for a challenging position as the first qualified black medical social worker at the Baragwanath Hospital in Johannesburg instead. She became interested in politics while working at the hospital. In the mid-1950s, she became involved in the African National Congress. In 1957, she met Nelson Mandela. At the time, he was on trial along with 155 other people in the now infamous treason trial following the civil disobedience campaigns of the early 1950s. They were married on the 19th of June 1958 in a Methodist service in the Transkei, after which Winnie settled in Mandela's home in Soweto. From 1962, Winnie was subjected to a virtually uninterrupted series of legal orders which prevented her from living, working, and socializing. She was banned under the Suppression of Communism Act for her part in the struggle and was restricted to the Orlando Township in Soweto. In 1969, she was detained under the Terrorism Act and was placed in solitary confinement for 17 months. In 1970, she was placed under house arrest. During the 1976 youth uprising, she established the Black Women's Federation and the Black Parents Association. She fought gallantly throughout the 1970s and 80s, undergoing constant harassment, arrests, and banishment from the apartheid regime just before the advent of freedom. In 1993, she was elected president of the ANC Women's League, a position that she held until 2003. She was voted onto the ANC NEC in Polokwane. Sadly, Mama Winnie could not travel from Johannesburg this evening to join us, so she has sent her granddaughter, Mrs. Lindo Mandela, to accept the award on her behalf. Lindo, if you could please come to the stage to receive the award from, once again, Minister, we would like you to come up again and be with Lindo for this award, please.
Malibongwe. I don't have to say much about Mama Winnie. You have listened to a beautiful oratory about her and who she is. I was just saying to Mashope, after the unbanning of the ANC, when they came back home, she was the first to go find Mama Winnie and brought her back into the ANC Women's League. Thank you very much for sharing her with us as you continue to do so. May her legacy continue to be while she's alive and beyond. We would just want to say thank you to her, Mama Winnie, Madikizela Mandela, and family. Thank you.
Ndithanda ukubulisa indwendwe ezibekekileyo ezikhoyo apha namhlanje. Ndinibulisa ngokwezicoco nezihlalo zenu enikhokhela nikuzo. Unlike Gogo, I'm not by any stretch of the imagination an orator. I don't possess the skill to command forces, nor the discipline to yield to the need of an entire country. I don't have the grace to confer power to anyone, much less those who have spent their whole lives conceding it. I hardly have the boldness to raise my voice, let alone my fist, as a sign of that very power. I am, however, a beneficiary of a collective of lifetimes worth of effort, grace, and a deep-seated love. Ours is a generation whose psyche was generously molded with the wisdom, the man in whose name this very award is conferred. As one of the most influential figures in Gogo's life, we salute the memory of Mr. Tambo. His wonderful work, forever etched in history's illustrious hallmark, which continues to spare us as a nation. Gogo has expressed her deepest gratitude for that tutelage. Mrs. Mandela is especially thankful to South Africa for allowing her to lead and influence her course to a great future. But she said to tell you she's far from done. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for accepting the award on behalf of your grandmother. She really is the mother of the nation, and we all owe her deeply for the sacrifices that she made so that we could be free today. There are so many who struggled, suffered, and died for the freedoms we enjoy today. As with previous years, the Honorable Minister has granted 2 Lifetime Achievement Awards. The final Lifetime Achievement Award for this evening goes to a freedom fighter, stalwart, and fierce feminist, Ms. Gertrude Shope. Ms. Shope was born in Johannesburg and grew up in Zimbabwe. She was trained as a teacher, and when she was 29, she decided to join the African National Congress. Soon afterwards, she left teaching as part of the campaign to boycott Bantu education. Shope was the chairperson of the Central Western Jabavu branch of the Federation of South African Women. In 1966, the ANC convinced her to leave South Africa and join her husband, Mark Shope, in exile. While in exile, Gertrude and her husband lived in Prague, Botswana, Tanzania, Czechoslovakia, Zambia, and Nigeria. And from 1970 to 1971, Shope was secretary to the head of the ANC's women's section, Florence Maposho. Together, these two women started the publication of Voice of the Women. Shope then became the ANC's chief representative in Lusaka, and in 1981 was promoted to head of the women's section, and she became a member of the National Executive Committee of the ANC in 1985. In 1991, Shope was elected president of the ANC's Women's League, a position she held until 1993. She worked together with Albertina Sisulu in convening the ANC's Internal Leadership Core Task Force from 1990 to 1991. In 1994, Shope became a member of parliament in the Government of National Unity. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome Miss Gertrude Shope to the stage. Would the Honorable Minister please accompany her to hand over her Lifetime Achievement Award.
Mashope warona riaya, hey, hey, hey riaya. Mashope riaya, mashope riaya, riaya. Mashope warona riaya, hey, hey, hey riaya. O mushuteleleng atene, o mushuteleleng atene. O mushuteleleng atene malibongwe igama lamakhosikazi. I am not going to say much about this beautiful mother of ours. Where is that beautiful stuff that belongs to her? May I have the honor, Mama, to present this on behalf of the President and all of us, in particular Diko, where your other daughter works. This belongs to you for all the hard work. Thank you. This is an award that is given to stalwarts. The last time we handed over this was to Ruth Mompati. And she said certain things here which I don't want to hear from you. What did she say? About she doesn't know whether this was the last speech or not and so on. You are not going to say that. Okay. Now, this belongs to you. We love you very much. We just want to continue saying, can you please continue to grow younger with this beautiful hairstyle? That is a Mashope only hairstyle. and all the sacrifices you have made throughout your life did not go unnoticed. We love you, Mama.
Thank you.
This belongs to you. Thank you.
Yeah. Can you stand on this? Your Excellency, President Jacob Zuma, who has invited me to this place, Honorable Minister Maite Nkoana-Mashabane, members of the Tambo family, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. As I read that O.R. Tambo Lifetime Achievement Award is described as follows, and I quote, "An award to South Africans who had dedicated their lives to serving South Africa with distinction, doing and leading up to the new democratic dispensation, and in the process have projected a positive image of South Africa by displaying the principles of O.R. Tambo, that is integrity, passion, patriotism, and humility." I thought to myself, what an honor. And what an honor for me to receive this award in the centenary year of Oliver Tambo, himself one of the greatest sons of our soil. What an honor to be associated through this award with the humble O.R. Tambo, one of Africa's great revolutionaries who brilliantly and courageously steered our people's movement in the African National Congress through one of the most difficult phases of our struggle. What a real great honor. I am truly humbled. Thank you, President Zuma, for the award and being here personally. Well, he's not here personally. He has made an apology that he won't come. But I'm thanking him through Maite to please take this message to him that I thank him very much because he was supposed to have come here himself. Siyabonga. We thank you very much. To you, Maite, my daughter, I want to say I thank you very much for this special honor, and it's not the first time. As I thought about what I might say tonight, I recalled the many occasions when I lie at home awake at night, pondering on some of the challenges that are facing our country and the world today. At those moments, I often ask myself what my generation of leaders would have said or would have done if they had lived at this time when these challenges are busy mowing down our struggle. I imagine President O.R. taking off his glasses with a quick movement and looking at you straight into the eye, as he often did when he wanted to gently put firmly his own disapproval. 40 years ago, in 1977, in Angola, President Tambo said, he said something that could not describe the challenges we face today. He said, and again I quote, "Comrades, you might think that it is very difficult to wage a liberation struggle. Wait until you are in power, and I might be dead by then. At that stage, you will realize that it is actually more difficult to keep power than to wage a liberation war. People will be expecting a lot from you people. People will be expecting a lot of services from you. You will have to satisfy the various demands of the masses of our people, to satisfy the various demands of all the people of our country. Learn from the enemy also. The enemy is not necessarily doing everything that is wrong. You may take his right tactics and use them to your advantage. At the same time, avoid repeating the enemy's mistakes." Close quote. Isn't this what lies at the core of our challenges today? In all our struggle years, we have been inspired by the vision of a democratic, non-racial, non-sexist South Africa. The racial tensions that are increasing and shamelessly manifesting themselves in our country today must be, therefore, the totality unacceptable. And we must make it our priority to contribute to the building of a non-racial South Africa. This entails addressing the underpinning legacy at or of our apartheid history, as well as determined action to take ourselves out of this prison of our past and try harder and harder every day to actively build a better future together, black and white. It takes courage, and we owe it to President Tambo and other leaders who had the courage to do the right thing. People like Moses Kotane, J.B. Marks, Lillian Ngoyi, Helen Joseph, and many, many others. And many, many others who did not want to follow the wrong way when in fact things were going wrong. They decided that these challenges must be faced right and left. With regard to building a non-sexist society, President O.R. Tambo played a significant role in advancing the emancipation and empowerment of women in the ANC and in the country. This greatly influenced the constitution of our country and the gender equality policies of both the ANC and the ANC-led government. That should not just be the ruling party, but also the general public, and in particular, the electorate, as people consider which party to vote for. South Africa has more than enough well-qualified women to lead this country. But what is most important is that the gender, but the politics, what is most important is not so much the gender, but the politics of the new president of South Africa. That is what Comrade OR would have wanted. South Africa needs a president who will prioritize what President OR wanted us about in 1977. That, I quote, "People will be expecting a lot of service from you. You will have to satisfy the various demands of the masses of our people," close quotes. What a fitting tribute to President OR if to President OR, it would be if South Africans entrusted a woman to fulfill that role. A woman who embraces the values, carries the vision for South Africa that President OR dedicated his life to achieve. Finally, I cannot find words enough to express the joy and pride in joining the previous winners of this prestigious award. In Me Ruth Mumpati, Me Agnes Msimang, and Comrade Johnny Makatini, we have the embodiment of all the values that Comrade OR died for. Humanity must continue being the best beacon that guides our actions. Too many people were imprisoned. Too many lives have been sacrificed, and many have died. A lot of them very young, to achieve this lofty goal of freedom. It rests on us all who are still alive today to ensure its meaning and meaningful fulfillment. Truly humbled and greatly honored, I thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks.
Omu shutelele uyaya uyaya, shutelele uyaya uyaya, hey hey hey. Bagay basad. Nasaan ako nam? Ni mo pilo ring mashope.
Patron